Hey everyone, back from my travels seeing my girlfriend in America. More like Chicago Bay Area, am I right? Fuck's sake, I'm awful. So I've been gone for a little while now, had my time journeying around some of the USA. Hopefully I didn't miss more. Oh dear God, that's a lot of messages. Well, let's worry about that later. Let's just get straight on with the reviews. I mean, I probably got a flight to catch up on, just a quick video, maybe two. Probably not miss much more than that. Oh dear God, that's a lot of movies I missed. Oh, and that's out too, before I'll have these done. Great. Well, let's just tackle them head on. Let's just go straight to the cinema and just work backwards. I'll just catch the most recent big release first. What's the most recent at the Oh dear God, it's the fucking that one. Oh, no. Power Rangers. No. I'm really not looking forward to this one. Okay. Let's just see this thing. That wasn't bad. What the fuck? So Power Rangers tells the story of a few lonely kids who discover alien artifacts that make them into superheroes and find themselves banding together against the incoming threat of a space-age poison ivy. It's Hollywood's latest attempt to cash in on that name you kinda sorta remember from a couple of decades back, but mostly only because that weird mate you got with all the Star Wars expanded lore books has a t-shirt with the logo on, and you vaguely recall BuzzFeed mentioned it that one time in those monotonous only 90s/80s/10,000 years BC kids will get these references lists. Except this time, this is one of the name cash-ins that you actually legitimately do remember, and most likely even watched at one point, because Power Rangers was fucking massive. It had games, it had merchandise, and of course it had the TV show. The show came to exist when this fella Mr. Saban saw some Japanese superhero Sentai shows and went, aye, that's class that like. Now what else is class? Saved by the Bell. And then he just kind of mashed the two completely different things together, creating a show that spliced in second-hand Japanese footage with original American high school drama to surprising effect. And the show continues to be hugely successful to this day, with multiple different themed teams coming every couple of seasons. But the one that everybody remembers is the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And here, we got a big screen reboot of that iconic bad lad. And against all odds, it's decent. Kinda. Sort of, anyway. It's certainly not without its major flaws, but in spite of the trailers, in my personal opinion, looking like the single worst thing to happen in history, and yes, I am counting Sonic 06 in that, I still managed to have fun with it. Kinda gutted, really, if I'm honest. It's been a while since I've really got to tear a film apart, and I do miss that catharsis, so just for the sake of my own therapy, let's start with the good before finishing on the terrible. Let's have a happy, naive beginning and a horrible, bitter ending. We can think of it as a metaphor for life. So what's most surprising is when Power Rangers works, it really works well. Despite the overly serious tone the trailers gave off and the colour palette with a massive dynamic range that goes from grey to slightly bluey grey, when this film tries to capture the Power Rangers vibe, it does. I think the biggest thing that was keeping me skeptical before I saw the movie is that the trailer seemed actively ashamed of the source material, which I particularly found off-putting because I've got a lot of love and respect for the source material. Hell, I love the source material. So much so I even started doing a whole show on the genre they made famous called Total Toku. Episode 2 will be out any minute, guys, I swear. I'm thinking it could be as early as 2020. Point is, what I enjoy about the original shows and movies is that they're silly, colourful popcorn fun. The main thing I took from this film that I really didn't expect to be in it was that vibe was present. Don't get me wrong, it could certainly do with being more colourful and looking a lot less boring. I mean, look at this. It just looks like a Transformers movie. But look at this. This is exactly what it would look like if the Battle of Helm's Deep took place entirely at a gay pride parade. Now that's the fun shit right there. However, even if the film doesn't often look much like the Power Rangers, it quite often manages to feel like it. Sure, it has a dull blue Instagram filter hue over everything, and the fights are occasionally lousy, being filled with quick cuts rather than just long takes of legitimately impressive martial arts like the originals, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have a scene where a giant toy robot uses the power of friendship to suplex a giant winged man made of gold. That's fucking great. Who doesn't want to see that? Hitler. That's who. He doesn't want to see that. And he wasn't a nice fella, so, there you go. The cast actually do a fair job too. They bounce along with a nice amount of chemistry and just the right balance of teenage angst crossed with a natural likability. The way the kind of team dynamic works is that each of the characters has their own uncomfortable backstory that sort of makes them a little antisocial or find it hard to fit in. You know, typical teenage stuff, but it's honestly done pretty well. I was particularly a fan of Billy the Blue Ranger, who was autistic. That was cool to see. Some will argue he was a bit on the nose, but I thought he was handled pretty realistically. He didn't always come off like this one-note neurotic weirdo. Yeah, sure, he had autistic tendencies, but there were times where if the movie hadn't already told you, you wouldn't have assumed the character was autistic at all. You know, just like real people. Plus, I quite like the decision to make the Yellow Ranger gay. Some will say it's a token effort or a PR move for the movie, but grounding the character's social isolation in real-world modern issues like autism and sexuality does actually fit entirely in the movie. It gives a strong motivation for the characters to act the way they do and makes it all the more gratifying to see these people grow and make friends, because Power Rangers as a concept has always very much been about that whole friendship and acceptance wins the day thing, you know? I mean, obviously it came out some shady shit was happening behind the scenes, but the actual stories of the show were very much that. So sure, some audiences will do the whole, grr, political correctness gone mad, or maybe they'll use the quote-unquote original fan excuse of, they weren't autistic and gay in the TV show, stop changing things. But honestly, if you think about it, this is the most Power Rangers thing a Power Rangers film could do, in making a story about people, lonely because of being different, finding friendship via a medium of giant robot punching. What could possibly be more Power Rangers than that? Now for the bad though, and there's actually a lot, so I'll give you a quick breakdown. Just a disclaimer, I am actually all for changing source material. I am not one of these people who thinks you should stick rigidly to the plot of the book or the comic or whatever. I think film is a different format, and when you're adapting things, you get to tell the story how you want to. Just aim to be just as good as the original stuff, or even better. That said, Rita Repulsa fucking sucks. You can tell Elizabeth Banks is really having a good time with the villain and giving it her all with the character, but she just, doesn't work for me at all. They make her into a weird space zombie thing that nicks people's teeth, and it's all a bit too creepypasta and at odds with the rest of the film for me. It's too serious. Similarly, Goldar fucking sucks. This is a character who was really daft. Like, I'm talking from memory here, but I'm pretty sure there was one season where him and Rita Repulsa spent the entirety of it bickering like a married couple in a shared caravan on the moon. I might be wrong, but I don't think I'm making that up. I wanted to see something fun with him. Something a bit silly, just like I did with Rita. It didn't have to be caravan on the moon level stuff, but I'd have settled for some banter between the two villains. However, in this movie he's just a giant generic CG monster. He doesn't even speak. And although he's technically responsible for some of the most fun set pieces, he's not so much a character as he is the equivalent of that big blue laser that the third acts of superhero movies were once so fond of. CG in general is actually just a huge problem with this film. Part of the fun of the franchise was the deeply impressive and also extremely goofy looking practical costumes. CG was only ever used to enhance movements and stuff, but when big robots and aliens scrapped, you could see there were actually people there. But in this film, everything from the mechs to the putties are all CG, and it really takes a lot of the life out of the whole production. I get that they were trying to be serious, but they shouldn't have. The film was at its best when it was silly, when it knew it was the Power Rangers. But just every now and then it would throw like a, evil high-stakes space zombie who's really creepy, or, the putties aren't guys in costumes making silly noises, they're like evil, threatening rock monsters now. And then it would try to be like more edgy and adult and throw in some rating pushing jokes. Like the opening gag for some reason was a joke about wanking off a cow. And I think it was trying to be funny and cool and edgy. But I was just like, what the fuck you doing, man? You're trying too hard. Just be daft. Your source material is daft as fuck. Don't be ashamed of your source material. Don't be ashamed to be silly. But even if you forgive all that, which you can do because there was moments where it let itself go and wasn't afraid to be cheesy fun that made up for them, there's some odd writing choices. Specifically one I'm going to have to go into extremely minor spoiler territory to discuss, which I do apologise for, but really, can you spoil the Power Rangers? Like, it is what it is, you know? But at one point, it is revealed that the reason the seemingly mean cheerleaders dropped Pink Ranger Kimberly from their friendship circle at the start of the film is because Kimberly slut-shamed and shared naked pictures of one of them to Aladdin School without her permission, and then punched the guy in the face and knocked out his tooth when he went, "Here, love." That's canny mean, that like. Bit unnecessarily cruel of you there. At this point, when this is revealed, Red Ranger pulls some motivational speech saying, "Just because you did an awful thing doesn't mean you're an awful person." Which is fine to say, but Red, it kinda does. She did something really malicious and cruel there to one of our best friends and had no real motivation to do so. So yeah, Pink's not cool. Sorry to break it to you, Red. Now, I get they want to make it topical to current trends, but this came across as really misguided. It would have been fine if Pink had a real Power Ranger moment and kind of said, you know, you're sort of right, I did do something awful, but I don't have to be an awful person. And her character arc was finding the courage through becoming a better person in her new friend circle to apologise to the old friend group, and especially the girl she wronged. Like, that would have been a good ending for her story. But no, what she does instead is smash the poor woman's car during the final fight while she's in a robot and laughs, going, ha, that's what you get. Whoa, Pink, you're a fucking dickhead, mate. What the shit, lass? Like, I get the dropped you as a friend, but with good fucking reason. You are a horrible person to them. What happened to your redemption shit? You felt all guilty before, now you're gonna laugh when you smash the lass's car? You absolute bellend. What sort of fucking superhero are you? What weird, unsatisfying and slightly uncomfortable writing. Especially for what's kind of a kid's movie. It's gross. I just feel bad for the poor lass. Her best mate shared her nudes and then smashed her car. Why are we rooting for the bully? Pink Ranger makes Bulk and Skull look like national treasures. That's not the worst part of it though. Oh no. What really sucked in this film more than anything was the god-awful, absolutely painful, disgustingly unironic shilling of Krispy Kreme donuts. WrestleMania had more subtlety than the product placement in this movie. We must go to Krispy Kreme, cry the Rangers in one scene. It's the only way to save the world. Yes, Krispy Kreme, Rita hisses in another. Why, it sounds like the most important place in the world, she adds. Find me Krispy Kreme, Goldar is ordered during the climactic battle, marching forward to the donut deli in centre of every talking point in this universe. What the fuck, lads? Howie. And now product placement is a thing in that, but you're taking the fucking piss, gents. Krispy fucking Kreme is the fucking centerpiece of your fucking finale. What a load of wank. How can you sell out so much? I'd never do that. Not that bad. Not even if the product was amazing. Not even if it was the Night Vandal Classic High Tops, which have been re-released and are available in a wide range of colours, including the sleek original black. That's right, I wouldn't even shill for something as great as those excellent trainers made with the precision and craftsmanship that give athletes the ability to perform at their best in any environment. You guys are sitting there whoring out for a fucking donut company, and I won't even throw out praise for the clearly fantastic and ergonomically designed brilliance of one of the greatest trainers in the world, which once again I'll remind you are now available to buy at all good sports retailers.